All right. I am here. Oh my gosh. So many issues. So many issues. I was in Florida this morning at the Hector Garcia's Reframe and Reframe conference. You know you've made it when you walk into a room and Hector says, "Oh, hi, Margie," as if he's known you forever, and then says, "Let me give you a big hug." And I never met the man before. So, of course, he's Latin. So that says a little something. But still, it was very cool to be at the event. And I'm sure Corey and I will share some great tips and great things, especially for those of you in the cohort, because we learned some really juicy stuff. So I was in Florida this morning, woke up at 3, left at 4:45, and my son picked me up from the airport and took me directly to church. And which the guy, one of the speakers at the conference, said that he was doing the same thing. He was doing the same thing. And so anyway, we took me directly to church. My husband and I teach 10-year-old Sunday school. So, and that's when I arrived, that's what time it was. The kids had done they have a big annual program, and I missed that, but I did walk in and they were all, "Oh, Sister Davis, we missed you." And so I didn't even have a chance to breathe, really. So I got home and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to take a nap. So I took a nap. I did set my alarm, but I slept longer than I intended. So now I'm like, hurrying to get here with you. And then I walk in and there's all sorts of technical issues. My studio is boiling and I couldn't get the air conditioning to work. So my husband had to come do the air conditioning. And you know how like sometimes you'll use Zoom and it'll say you're like, go to hop on a Zoom call and it'll say, "Oh, new version of Zoom installing." And so then you're late. So like the same thing happened with Ecamm, which is the software I use for streaming. And then creating the event in Facebook, for some reason it wasn't showing up. Like I created it and then I had to have my son come in and figure out like what's going on. So here we are, 7 minutes after the hour. Whew, and it has been already, it's been 11 hours. 11 hours of mayhem already in my day. But I am excited to be here with you. Good morning from California. Gigi says good morning from New Jersey, but it's 2:00 in the afternoon. So Gigi must have had a hard night last night. Oh, all right. I've just got to, once we got all the technical issues figured out, I've just got to get logged on here in the correct version of QuickBooks so I can show you around, show you what is happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. Prize to anybody who recognizes that tune. I'll sing it again. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. If you know what that's from. All right, then you can post it in the chat and you'll win a prize. And hopefully I won't get sued for whatever copyright infringement or whatever that is for when you play songs that you don't have licensing for. Gigi said she did stay up late studying for the EA exam. Good for you. Yeah, good for you. All right, let's see if this account has the... All right, so I think that we are good to go. Let me share my I will share my screen in just a bit. All right, so let me fill you in on what is happening. Oh, there it goes. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. I had this one song stuck in my head for the last week. Not that one. Now that's probably the one that will be stuck. But it started on the way to the airport, and it just lasted all week long. Okay. All right. I'm not seeing anybody in the chat popping up about What's the Buzz song. All right. So let's catch you up on where we are. Oh, and I am going live on YouTube, by the way, and I don't have access to the YouTube chat. So if you're posting on, well, I do. I don't know how to. I'm going live right now inside our free Facebook group called the QBO Gym Locker Room. This is where we do hands-on practice using QuickBooks Online. That's our entire focus is hands-on, hands-on, hands-on. So I'm going live. I go live every Friday where we walk through some exercises together to get practice in QuickBooks Online. This is a special broadcast, also broadcasting to our YouTube channel because I wanted everybody, as many people as possible, to see. So let me see if I can figure out how to pull up the YouTube comments in case, because I do it every week. I'm used to the other comments. So let me just go. Okay. Here's my live. Okay. All right. So hopefully I will YouTube. I'm sorry. I don't have as much experience going live on YouTube. So I will address any questions in the Facebook group first, and then I will get to you. So I'm sorry you're not top of mind because I don't typically do it. So, okay. So here we go. And Jackie is guessing the 10 Commandments. It is not. Joel Davis says the you. I don't know what that means. The you. I've never heard of that show. So I don't know what that is. But anyway. All right. So let's back up and talk about ProAdvisor Academy. So the ProAdvisor certification has been around for a while, 10 or 12 years or something, way before my time. And for when I got my certification, you would study a topic and then take a test on that topic, and then study the topic and then take a test on that topic. The training has always been free inside your QBOA account, and or you could attend a live training, and then so that you would go to the training and then take the test. The problem was that the training did not fully prepare you to take the test, and that's how my company was born. Okay, so I come from a training development background. I used to work for a medical software company, and I would travel the country to hospitals around the country and teach people how to use our software. And then as I moved up, through the ranks, I moved in-house and developed our internal training, like train the trainer programs, but then all of our employees that would come in, because it was proprietary software. Like, we couldn't hire somebody that already knew it. Well, we could hire some of the hospital employees, but that was back before. I'm old, guys. I'm old. So this was back before remote work. So we were in Bethesda, Maryland, and so you had to be local. And I mean, we did hire some people and, and bring them in from around the country. But anyway, so my point is that I developed these internal training programs to train all of our new employees on our software. So like we would get a new help desk person, we would get a new technical writer, we would get a new, what they would call an application specialist, and they would have to learn the software for their job. And so I came out of that world and then was gone for 20 years in my dream job being a stay-at-home mom. And I always say 20 because it's easier. I was actually 18. My daughter was 18 years old, and when my husband had a midlife crisis and decided that he didn't want to be married anymore, and it was 10 days before I found out, 10 days before I had to take my daughter off to college. And so I was like, oh crap, what do I do? And I thought, I'm still a smart person. I'm still technical. I can just, waltz right back into my, training development world. But it turns out that when you are a middle-aged woman with a 20-year gap in her resume, people aren't all that interested. So like many, many people in my circumstance, I turned to bookkeeping. I thought, I've always been good at numbers. And I had been a treasurer. I'd always managed our finances. I was previously an office manager, and we used Quicken for that. So it felt like it was a good transition. And so I found out about the ProAdvisor certification, and I went through the training. And as I mentioned, the training just did not match up with the test. And it was very difficult. The whole time I was going through the training, I just kept thinking I could do such a better job than this. Like, this is terrible. And but I also thought, I can't chase that squirrel. I have to get my own life together. I've got to figure out like my life. And so I just stayed focused on getting my own certifications. I got the basic, then the advanced. The payroll didn't come out until a couple of years later. So I went and got my certifications, went out into the world, got clients, became, did the things that you do to grow your business. But at the same time, I was involved with, bookkeeping groups on Facebook. And I just kept hearing over and over and over how terrible the Intuit training was. And people just were struggling. They couldn't pass the test. And it wasn't through no fault of their own. Like, it wasn't because they weren't smart people. It was just because the training did not prepare you for the test. And so finally I couldn't stand it anymore. And I said, fine. I'll create a course. So I created my first course, and it was hugely popular. I was shocked at how popular it was. And that was at the end of August that I released my course. And in October, so it had only been out on the shelves for about 6 weeks. And in October, we got an announcement that Intuit was changing the training. Now, at the time, I freaked out. I was like, oh my gosh, I put in all this work and I didn't, what am I going to do? And I didn't know at the time that Intuit does this every year. Okay, so every year they change up all of the requirements and all for the test and all of the training. Okay, so this is a thing they do every year. And it makes sense if you think about it, because this is software, and software is always changing. And so you can't pass a test 5 years ago for software and then expect that you're still going to be at the ProAdvisor level years later. So their season is typically November 1st through October 31st. Okay, so that first year when they changed up the certification, remember I said when I took it, it was you study the material, then you take a test for that section. You study the material, then you take a test for that section. Well, that next year, or maybe it was 2 years after that, I can't remember. But anyway, shortly thereafter, they changed it so that you, instead of taking it on subject material, they just had 5 sections. So it was just section 1. It was no longer like a test on inventory. It was section 1, section 2, section 3, etc. And the sections did not line up with the training and into it. So you didn't really know what was going to be, like what material was going to be covered on the test. But the reason that they did this was to spread out the number of questions. So when I took the test, and when I developed my first program, there was like one section test had 5 questions and another section had 15 questions. And so when they changed it so that it wasn't based on subject material and it was instead just section 1, section 2, etc., they did that to space out the questions so that each section took you about the same amount of time. That was the reasoning. But it was really hard for people to follow. And again, it didn't really line up with the test. Like even if you knew what it was, like the subjects that were going to be on that test, it was mostly in the order of the training, but not completely. And so like even if you knew the subject, it wasn't clear that the test questions were not necessarily something that was covered in the training material. And even though it was an open book test, the training material was not searchable. Okay, so you couldn't just Control F to find, like if you knew where you're looking at a test question and if you knew where that was covered in the training, which you didn't always, it was very difficult to navigate, and you didn't know where it was, even if you knew where it was, you're like, oh, it's in this module. There was no Control F, there was no searching, there was no way for you to like look up the answer, even though it was an open book test. So this again is why our programs became so successful, is because we like organized it for you. We were like, okay, this section 1, this is all the material that's going to be on section 1. We taught it in the order of the test, and we helped reinforce the information, and we gave you a guide that you could use to remind yourself of the things as you're going through the test. Okay? So this was the state of the training for a couple of years. Then last year, at the end of the season last year, Intuit hired a new person, Jacqueline Anku, to be in charge of the ProAdvisor training and experience. And I knew that she was coming in to revolutionize the way ProAdvisor training was done. We saw a little bit when recertification happened in the spring. We saw a little bit of her fingerprints on things. She took over the In the Know monthly webinars, which is, if you don't know about that, that is a series of webinars that you can sign up for, and they get product engineers on, and they go through like the changes that are, new things that are coming or that have been released, or they explain things. It's live, so you can ask questions in the chat. I have not been to one of Jacqueline's of these. They used to do it with somebody else, and I never had success. Never once got a question answered that I asked in the chat. So I don't know what the experience is like with Jacqueline. But in addition to these, she also does like a weekly topic, also that's in the know. And even though I'm subscribed to them, supposedly, I never get notice of them. So I don't know. So my point is that we have, since the spring, we have started to see like her fingerprints and her changes to the program. And I fully expected that this fall we would see a completely revolutionized, revamped ProAdvisor training. And in many ways we have. So they have, Amy Lynn says Jacqueline is really good about getting to the questions. So apparently Amy Lynn has been to these live webinars and she does get the questions. So that's great. All right. So she has been hard at work for the last year, completely revamping, revitalizing the ProAdvisor training. And it's now called ProAdvisor Academy. So the purpose of this call today is to go over the ProAdvisor Academy, to talk about what's different, and to point out some things that you might not have noticed or seen, and then we'll wrap up by talking about where we go from here. Now, I will remind you that first, I don't work for Intuit. I'm just looking at it like you're looking at it. I don't have any pull. I don't have any say. I have no relationship with them. Okay. So if there are things that you don't like, there's a lot of people that have been complaining about the new badge style, because it doesn't say ProAdvisor on it anymore. So, and it now says level 1, level 2, which is meaningless because who knows how many levels there are and which level is better. But anyway, there's been a lot of feedback already, and they are anxious to receive it because this is new, and she wants to hear from us. But write yourself to, or call. You'll see. I'll show you. There's a phone number to call. Call them yourself and make your voice heard, because the more voices they hear, the more they are likely to make a change. I can say, look, my name is Margie Remmers Davis. I run this program. I represent 15,000 QBO students. But just me saying that doesn't mean as much as having 15,000 students reach out to Intuit. Okay? All right. So let's take a look. All right. Let me just check YouTube real quick. All right. I don't see, do I have to refresh this? I don't know if I can see comments live there. Okay. All right. The question. Jackie, it is from a Bible movie. Very good. So Jackie Casper, so the song I was singing earlier, what's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. Oh, what's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. It is in fact a Bible movie. She guessed 10 Commandments first. That is incorrect. Now she's guessing Ben-Hur. Also incorrect. Somebody's going to Google it, I'm sure. All right. So let me share my screen here. Okay. All right. So here we are in an accountant account. It is, you can tell that it is an accountant account because it says accountant up here in the upper left-hand corner, because this left navigation bar is gray, and because it is divided into your practice and your books. Okay, so If you're looking at a client's a regular QBO subscription, it will be Peggy for the win. Peggy for the win. Oh, and Latricia. Did you guys all Google it? Is there anyone that knew it? Yes, it's Jesus Christ Superstar. Okay. All right. So, where was I? All right. So we are, so this is a QBO A account. That's a QuickBooks Online accountant account. If you're in a, if you are in a regular client side QBO subscription, it'll look different. It'll have a black navigation bar on the left, and you will not be able to access what I'm talking about, okay? Also, if you're international, so my courses are all for the US version of QuickBooks Online. If you are international, have an international version, then it will be different, okay? The new ProAdvisor Academy is for US based. I'm getting a... So Ramona says they are trying to charge me for QBO account. I tried to log in and they want me to sign up for a monthly subscription. I have tried to contact customer support and it says log in, but it will not let me log in unless I pay for subscription. What comes up is a bogus name on the account. I do not know. I don't know how to help you with that. But there are ways to contact Intuit without being logged into your account. So for example, like go to the sales page and there's a number there to contact sales. I think even a chat person, and they may be able to connect you to the right person. I'm not sure. All right, so let's go back to, so US version, accountant account. On the left-hand side, you have an item in the top under where it says your practice. You have an item here that says ProAdvisor, and if you go to training, this is the new ProAdvisor Academy. So I'm going to click Start Learning. All right, so one of the things that is different about the course now is you have to actually enroll in a course. This is new from before. Before, you could just start going through the training. Now, you have to actually select a course to enroll. Now, this is I'm just in a trial account right here. I don't have any badges. Once you have earned your badges, they will display right here. Notice it says My Badges. And it will say, it'll display your badges right there. It'll display your name, all that good stuff, okay? So then you go to a course and you enroll in that course. And you can enroll in the certification courses or the other non-certification related courses. When you do that, they're gonna show up in this dashboard right here. And they, unfortunately, this is kind of a negative thing. I'll see if I can show it right now. But in this dashboard, the modules show up just in alphabetical order, which means that they're not associated. So if you're enrolled in multiple courses, they won't show up grouped by that course. So that's kind of annoying. Let's see. So we're going to go to the certification program because that's what we're here talking about. And here are all of the courses available. Okay. So they have the online certification level 1, the online certification level 2, and the Intuit bookkeeping certification. Now this is new. It used to be that the bookkeeping certification was on a separate page. It was on the Intuit Academy. Somebody's pointing out that it's like the Intuit Academy. Is the Intuit Academy now just TurboTax, just tax? Megan said something. anyway, so you have to enroll in it. Okay, so the QuickBooks Online certification has no prerequisites. See this? No prerequisites. Okay, so that does not mean, so you do not have to have your bookkeeping certification first. Okay, so you can skip that. This is the advanced level. It's now called level 2. Basic is level 1, advanced is now level 2. And you notice that it has a prerequisite, which is QuickBooks Online certification level 1. Notice that it's locked. You cannot enroll in it until you have actually received your certification. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and, before I do that, let me just show you also they have, so this is your foundation courses, and then they have your specialty courses. Okay, so they have the payroll certification, which is not available yet. It says that there are no prerequisites, but in the past, it was the basic certification was required. So this, I'm not sure what they're going to do with that. Notice that they have 2 desktop certifications. Little Bird told me before that they were eliminating the desktop certifications. And so that's what I announced, because the person who told me said they had it on good authority from someone directly at Intuit that they were getting rid of the desktop certifications. So that's what I announced. But here they are. I saw that person this past week at the event with Hector Garcia. It wasn't Hector. It was a different person. And I told her, I said, hey, did you see that there is? And she said, I don't know, so-and-so told me. So anyway, so there are desktop certifications. And so those are the specialty, and here is the foundation. From here, notice we have these tabs up at the top, okay? So if I go to My Hub, that takes me back to that original page. If I go to certifications, that's that same page that I got to by clicking right here, View Certification Programs. And then if I click Learn, these are all of the modules in alphabetical order. Notice they're in alphabetical order, not in course order. Okay, so Advanced Inventory, Banking Level 1, Banking Level 2. Okay, so these are not associated, some of them are associated with the certifications, others are not. These are just they're just in alphabetical order, all of the stuff that you can do, okay? If you start one of these courses, it'll show up under here, course enrollments, okay? So that's learn. Then we have My History, okay? Your completed certifications. This is where, for those of you who need CPE certificates, this is where you will get them. Corey says it would make sense that they would be removing the QBD certs since they're sunsetting the product. Exactly. And those with QBD certs cannot access their badges anymore. So that's weird that they have it there. So yeah, I don't know. And then we have some FAQs up here that you can go into. All the questions are basically the same, and all the answers are basically the same as each other, okay? So, like, level 1 FAQs. Do I need to take the courses in a specific order? You can take the courses in any order of your choosing. Level 2, do I need to take the courses in a specific order? Answer, you can take the courses in the order of your choosing. So it's all like the same, okay? All right, so let's go back here. Let's enroll in the level 1 certification, and we're going to talk about how it's different, okay? All right. So the new certification, what was formerly the basic level, or at Intuit they called it core, now they're calling it level 1. The new level 1 certificate has five sections, just like they have always had 5 sections. okay? And each section, okay, so there's 5 sections just like there was before. When you go through the training, when you want to take the test, there are 2 options. Internally, we're calling it path 1 and path 2. Okay, so I'm just going to use that. That's the term I'm using with my team. So that's the term I'm going to use with you. Okay, so path 1 is to go through their training. If you go through their training, then you can take the section exam at the end of that training. So it's similar to back in the day when it used to be a topic and then an exam, a topic and then an exam, okay? So if I go to the Getting Started Level 1, I have not played this little video. I wonder if this is Jacqueline. Let's see. See what this little video is.
Welcome to the QuickBooks Online Level 1 certification. I'm excited that you're ready to get started. If you're new to QuickBooks Online, then this program was built for you. By completing courses on getting started, sales and customer.
All right, I'm going to let you watch that on your own. I think that plays in the beginning here too, so I wasn't sure if it was the same video. I'm going to go ahead and click Getting Started Level 1. I'm going to click Start. Okay, and here I am. This is the new ProAdvisor Academy, okay? And this is that same video, so it's there twice, okay? So some navigation things about this. So up at the top, so there is this bar here, and it's unfortunate. I mean, the new training is very pretty, okay? It's very pretty, but it wastes a lot of real estate. There's a lot of white space. Look at how, okay, so here's my tabs, here's my URL, here is blank space for no reason. We have a window inside, okay, and if I scroll, look, here's all of this white space here that's unused. So the whole training is in that little middle third of the window, okay, which is a little annoying, okay? Now, if I go to next lesson, that will take me, let's see if I'm right. Yeah, that actually is taking me to the test, not the next lesson. I have to actually go through the training in order to qualify for the test. So that's why I'm getting an error message that says prerequisite not met, okay? So that's this little button. You don't want to use that little button. And look, it didn't even fill in the new stuff. Let me go back. Oh yeah, and this little back button doesn't work. There was nothing. Let's see if this back button works. There we go. Okay. So let's do it again. So I'm going to go continue. Course is already in progress. You'll notice that it says, do you want to continue where you left off? So if you ever leave at any time, it remembers where you are. That is a nice thing that they never ever had before with the previous versions. So that's good. Okay, so I'm going to say yes, even though I didn't really get very far. Okay, so all we're doing so far right now is we're looking at this tab, this line up here. This is how you get to the test, even though it says next lesson. And then we have course content, okay? That just tells me what is, this is just a navigator for where I am, okay? So this is the description, the content, the first page, remember that first area, that's the training. The second area is the test. That's what that's showing me, okay? So that is what this is for. It's just this, okay? So that is slightly annoying. I do have this full screen button, okay? Remember I talked about all of the wasted space? So I can do full screen, and it makes it a little bit, it makes it so that it's not inside that little third window, okay? but it doesn't make it doesn't actually take up the full screen. Like if you're watching Netflix and you do full screen, am I the only one that does that? click, and then you can't see the controls anymore. So you can still see the controls and all that. So it's not a huge amount of difference, but maybe it will make a little bit of difference. Then we have this little navigation bar, which opens up the different lessons inside this module. Unfortunately, let's see if I can do it. When I tried this before, I couldn't navigate well between the lessons. Let me see. Can I go to this one? Okay. So it's letting me navigate. It's letting me navigate between the individual lessons that are in the course. Okay. All right. So that's the training. Let me do full screen just so on the live stream here you can see it a little bit better. All right, so as we go through the training, it's kind of, like you see this introduction from Jacqueline and you get a little hopeful that there's actually going to be some video training, but then you're disappointed because in fact it is just a wall of words, just like it always was before. One of the things that I've talked about, let me just take that off for a second. One of the things that I talked about is one of the reasons I struggled with the original QBO or the original ProAdvisor training is, and a key reason why I developed, when I kept saying I could do such a better job than this, that one of the key things is that I am not a good reader, okay? I can read. I don't have a learning disability, but I don't learn well from the written page, okay? And so when I see a wall of words, my eyes just glaze over. I have to figure out a way to break it up and make it more manageable for my brain. And so that's why our Fast and Easy programs are all video based is because I am much more auditory. I want to hear the words, not just see them. And I want to see it in action. I don't want to just hear somebody talking about it. If I want them to demonstrate stuff, and then I want to be able to do it myself hands-on. Because if I'm just reading, I just can't do it. I heard at the conference this week, one of the speakers was Chris Do. He is an internet personality. I had seen him before, but I didn't really follow him or know what he does. He's very distinctive looking, which is why you remember when you see him. And he said this analogy that I'm going to use forever. Forever, I'm going to use this analogy because it's so beautiful, and it is exactly the reason why my company exists. He said, you can't learn to play baseball by watching it on YouTube. You can't learn to play baseball by sitting in the stands. The only way that you're going to learn to play baseball is to get on the field. And guess what? When you first start, you're going to suck. The only way is to keep practicing. That's why our company exists. That's why the locker room has over 100 free exercises that you can practice QuickBooks Online hands-on. So you're actually doing it, okay? And we've got so much exciting stuff happening. It's just going to blow. I'm so excited for our future and the programs that we have that just, you're going to be able to, there are just going to be so many ahas, so many light bulbs in the next year. So many light bulbs are going to go on that it's going to power the entire nation. The whole nation is going to light up because of all of the light bulbs going on in your head for all of the stuff that we have planned for you. So anyway, Jackie says, I liked it when it told you about how long each lesson would take, it doesn't look like this one tells you. You're right, Jackie. I did not even notice that. But yeah, it doesn't. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that either. All right, let's go back to the desktop. Let's take a look. Okay. So here is the training. You scroll through. There are things for you to click. They have a lot of, and you'll see this more as we click through it, of links to other places. Now, in some ways this is good, because last year, or maybe it was the year before, they revamped the training portal, and they said things like, look in the such and such a training for more information on this. But they didn't tell you how to find that such and such a training. There wasn't a link to it. They didn't tell you like clicks or whatever. That was very frustrating. So the fact that they have a lot of links to different resources is great. It also makes it easier for them to update it later, because then they can just update like where the link takes you, as long as they remember that that link is there and it needs to be updated. Okay. Diane says in the bookkeeping one, it did show that it would take 45 minutes. Is that the new one, Diane, with the new, I don't know. I did go through the Intuit, the bookkeeping certification earlier this year, just to see what it was like. And I don't remember whether it said that or not. Okay, so here we are. You know, you can click through things. Okay, so now the navigation here at the bottom, you'll notice this says 1 of 6. Okay, so that means, so there are 6 lessons here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so there's 6 lessons, and this arrow right here is how you navigate through them. So I'm going to click. So here is the next lesson. Here is a little video. I was disappointed by this video because it did not really, you guys can watch it on your own. It does not, it just shows the same graphics over and over, and it doesn't really tell you anything. So I was disappointed by that. One of the things that Jacqueline is super excited about is these inserted ProAdvisor top tips. So she has apparently real ProAdvisors that every so often chime in on certain things. I don't know how it happened. I have not, I haven't found them useful yet. Okay. They also have at the end, okay, so I showed you these, okay. This is information about taking the test, which is what I'm covering now. And then, okay, here's the phone number. If you need a bit of help when working through this certification, don't worry, you're not alone. Call the care team directly, and here's the phone number to call. I think that they want you to call this number because they do have it in a couple of places. And I'm planning to call them tomorrow to ask a very important question, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Okay, so anyway, and this is the in the know that I was just talking about. Okay, now at the end of each of the trainings, there is this, they have a summing up thing where you can click and just get the bytes that you need to know. There again is the phone number. So you'll see that in a lot of places. Here is, you can see by these dots that you have to click through to like these different things. These are also like things that pop up. So there's a lot of things to like click around, which is good, but it's still, even though you're clicking it, it's still reading. Like that's what bothers me, is that again, I'm not a good reader. I don't learn well from reading. Just clicking to me does not help me. Maybe, I mean, for those of you who have ADHD, maybe the act of clicking helps you. But if I'm just going to click something to open up something to read, that doesn't do it for me. All right. So let's go on because we still have a couple of important things to talk about. All right. So the platform that powers prosperity. This is the first lesson in this module that is related to the certification test. So again, we've got some clicky things here, a video that it doesn't really help me. We've got a ProAdvisor top tip. We have some links to external sources, and links to stuff and all of the stuff. Okay, some more things to open up and read more about it. Okay, lots of stuff to read, lots of stuff to read, lots of stuff to read. Another ProAdvisor top tip. Okay, now they have these knowledge checks. Knowledge checks, notice it says check your understanding. Okay, the knowledge checks must be, this is important, pay attention. The knowledge checks must be completed in order to take the test. This is new. This is a new thing. You cannot take the test. Remember I said in the beginning, there's path 1 and path 2. Right now we're still talking about path 1, okay? I'll talk about path 2. So path 1 means you're going through the training and taking the test, okay? If you're going through path 1, you have to answer these knowledge questions in order to unlock the test. You don't have to get the knowledge questions right. Remember in the old training, the knowledge check, if you didn't get it right, you couldn't go further in the training. Like that was extraordinarily annoying, okay? Megan, I will answer that question. And I'm not talking today about the bookkeeping. I'm sorry. The bookkeeping one is closed book. The bookkeeping one has a proctored a proctor on it. But today I'm focused on the certification tests, okay? And we'll get to the actual test, I promise. All right, so we're in path 1. In path 1, you have to do the knowledge checks before you unlock the exam. You do not have to get the knowledge checks correct, okay? This is a huge change from before where it wouldn't even let you take further training if you didn't pass the knowledge checks. And it didn't ever tell you what the correct answer was. So, it told you if you got it right, what the correct answer was, but it didn't tell you if you got it wrong. It didn't tell you, it's just said it was wrong, and then it never gave you guidance on how to get the correct. So the old knowledge checks were very annoying. These are much better. All right, so there's just a couple of knowledge checks. And again, remember I talked about they always have these summary cards. Okay, so let's answer these questions because I want to be able to unlock the first section test. So you can see, we're not going to obviously show the test. Yes, Rosa, this session is being recorded. Okay. Obviously we're not going to show the test, but, I need to show you the structure of the test. Okay. So let's see. Intuit and QuickBooks products are designed as solutions to meet clients' needs. Can you match the product to the job to be done? All right. And so we're going to say QuickBooks Payments does what? Here is the tricky thing, at least, yeah. Look, you can't tell that it's missing one, right? It looks like there's only 5 options, but there is a hidden one if you scroll there. Okay, so QuickBooks Payments helps you get paid. MailChimp is for getting customers. Payroll is to pay employees. QuickBooks Online is for bookkeeping and accounting. Bill Pay is to pay bills. And checking is banking. Okay, so now I'm going to submit. And woohoo, I got them all right. And it tells me. Okay, so I'm going to hit close. And let's get the next one wrong. Okay, so how does having a good understanding of the solutions available benefit you as a ProAdvisor? Select all the options you think apply, then select Submit. Okay, so the first one, it will help you engage with clients already using these products. True. It will help you advise clients on the best solution for their business. True. It will help you demonstrate your industry expertise. Maybe. It will help you advise clients on how to determine their pricing structures. Okay? So how they should how your customers should price their services. That is not true. It's not true. Okay? But I'm going to click it just so we can see what happens when I get one wrong. Okay, so I'm going to click Submit and boom. Nope, that's not quite right. Having a good understanding of the tools available shows your industry experience, helps you advise clients on the right fit for their business, and helps you engage with clients already using these products. Okay, so the first three. Knowing what's available won't help clients determine their pricing structures though. Okay, so that one is not correct, so I'm going to close that. Okay, so I can click these buttons again. I don't know. Whoa, that's interesting. I don't remember I clicked that button before. Show feedback shows me the same thing. I can still go on with the training though. Okay, so I can still okay, now I know that. Okay. All right, so this one is kind of cool because it shows you the difference between the different versions. Okay, so this is compare the two views below. The first shows the standard view of an accounting pro with access to a selected client's account, but no access to the firm's account. The second shows a view of the firm's primary admin who sees all clients and the firm's account. So this is you managing users for your firm. Okay, so this is kind of cool. That's what your firm users see, and that's what you see as the admin. Okay, all right. Then we have some things you've got to click through to see. It's in some ways this is very similar. So this is all talking about your QBO account. Okay, and stuff that you can click through. This is very similar where it highlights different screens so that you can see. This one is a little bit different. So you highlight it and you can get some more information there. Okay. So this style right here they had this style previously in the training. This one is a little bit different where it's going through the different screens. So this one is a little bit new. I don't see a back button, it's just going forward. Let's see what happens when I get to the end of it. Oh, so you can restart to go through the whole thing, but you can't use the back arrows. Okay, so that one's a little bit more interactive than it has in the past, so I like that. But yeah, wouldn't it be nice if you could actually use QBO instead of just looking at the pictures? Also, look how small it is. I mean, some of us are old. Some of us are old and have a hard time. I've got a big monitor here and I'm still so wouldn't it be nice if we could make that bigger? I don't need to see this chick drinking her coffee as much as I need to see what this screen looks like. But anyway. All right, so now we have another knowledge check. I'm going to let you do these yourself. As I said, you do not have to get them correct in order to access the test. Okay, we've all got these little summary cards. Okay, more of the same of what I've talked about. So this one, again, you click through to see the different things. And let's see, deeper dive into settings. Oh, by the way, and I saw that Corey is on the call. It's now called, so it used to be called the gear icon. Okay, and then in the research they started calling it the settings cog Okay. Well, they're now calling it the settings gear. So they combined the two. Anyway. So, so more training. Okay. This is everything I'm showing you. We're just going to do that first module, which is getting started. Okay. It's the getting started module. See that up here? Okay. So a huge amount, like all this back, just tons of stuff. Okay. Now we land on this new thing called Give It a Shot. Okay. Give It a Shot is the old ProAdvisor challenges. So if you've been joining me on the weekly live stream, for the first half of the year, we went through all the ProAdvisor challenges in the previous training. Okay, and we went through them. We talked about what's good about them, what was bad about them, and and we rewrote them in our signature style to make them a little bit easier for you to go through. So now we have, instead of ProAdvisor challenges, they're calling them Give It a Shot. We have not analyzed them at all. Right now we're totally focused on the test. Okay, so we are not focused yet on, like, we will go through these, see if they're the same as last year, see what we need to do to make our updates. But these are here. And they are the same structure as they were previously. Okay, so you have the challenge, which is they tell you what to do but not how to do it. They tell you the review, which is, it used to be called check your work or something, I can't remember. So here's how you can tell if you've done it correctly. And then the solution is the exact steps of how to do it. Okay, so always those three things. Okay, lots and lots of stuff for you to go through. This is more like stuff about QuickBooks. I mean, there's just a ton of stuff here about the apps, how to get help. Okay, so now we have our knowledge check questions. So I'm going to, I got that one right. Remember, it doesn't matter. You have to have an answer. You don't have to have gotten the answer right. Okay. And then we go to, all right, here we go. Last one. Now, at this point, so one of the things that they used to provide in the old days, that they stopped providing, that people missed, was like actual documentation, like a PDF. I mentioned that you could not search the old training portal, and you still can't search this training portal. There's still like no way to find things. But I lost my train of thought. So there was nothing, like, you had no like reference to go back to. The new training includes for every module what they're calling a worksheet. And the worksheet, I'm going to download this worksheet. Oh, you can see it. Okay. The worksheet has these reflection questions. Okay. These reflection questions are more related to you and how you want to serve as a ProAdvisor. Okay. And like how you're going to, it's like time for you to reflect on how you're going to implement what you just learned. I don't know that this is going to be super useful. What you might not realize, and I didn't realize at first, I thought that it was just this first page, but it's not. It's actually more information. Okay. So it is a highlight of things that they covered. And look, here's an entire page of links. So this is all of the stuff that they covered in that training. distilled down into just a couple of pages. This document, I was super excited because I thought that this was going to be like your cheat sheet, for lack of a better word, for your cheat sheet for navigating the stuff and for taking the test. It is not. It is moderately helpful because it does give you in a bulleted item way. So if you're looking for something, you don't have to like go through the training as much. But it's not as, I thought that it was going to be like a good resource for taking the test. It is not. Okay. There are some really good, is it in this one? I don't know where it is. There are a handful of worksheets that are actually, it's in the sale. I remember we're in the getting started module. In the sales and customer module, there is a handout that is so beautiful. It's just so exquisitely well done. I just thought, into it. Can everything be like this one handout? I don't think we'll have time to cover it today, but yeah. So some of that new handouts and stuff are beautiful. That worksheet, which you find at the end of every module, is not going to help you take the test. Okay. All right. So here's more links and stuff and all that stuff. Here's your summing up. Okay. Now we have come to the end of this first module. I have spent now an hour just talking about it, like not even going over the actual material, not like training you on it, not like whatever. And you saw that it was a boatload of information. Okay. So a ton of information. Now it's time to take the exam, and you're going to take the exam just on that section. Okay. Just on that section. So in order to get to the exam, like we saw earlier, we're going to click up here, this arrow. It now says next lesson because it's unlocked, okay? Because we clicked through all of the knowledge check ones, okay? So I'm going to click next lesson, and it's going to load. Hopefully it doesn't load the actual test. I think it's, yeah. Okay. So here are the rules of the exam. QuickBooks Online Certification Level 1 Getting Started Exam, you will be asked 5 questions. Let me read that again. You will be asked 5 questions. 5 questions. There are 5 questions on the Section 1 exam. After all of that, I'm out of focus? Is it because I went like this? Here, let me go. I'll go like this. Okay. The Getting Started section has 5 questions. And so all that you just studied, we just went through pages and pages and pages and pages, and they're going to ask you 5 questions. That's just the getting started. Hopefully I'm in focus now. Okay. It is still an 80%, so you still have to get an 80% or higher, which means on the getting started, you have to get 4 out of the 5 answers correct. You can only miss 1. Okay. If you don't pass, we strongly recommend that you review the course learning material before attempting the exam again. So far, you have taken the exam 0 times. Okay. And the, this is nice that it tells you, because previously it would tell you, but it told you in a way that was confusing. It said you were on try 2 out of 3 or something. And so it was confusing, like, what? I haven't taken it twice. I don't know. Just the English phrasing was confusing before. So now it's nice that it tells you exactly you've taken how many times you've taken the exam. Okay. I'm going to take off my screen and see what happens when I click the Start Exam button, see if I get a question. I do. Okay. So I don't know. So I'm not going to show this. All right. But here's the thing about the exam. So the exam is just like it's just like it was before. So some of the questions have check boxes. Some of the questions have radio buttons. Just like before, this past year, in previous years, they would tell you how many you needed to check. And then sometimes they don't tell you how many you need to check. So the ones that I have seen, they all just say, select all that apply. I have not seen any that tell you, pick two of these, which two. I haven't seen those yet, but we're not finished studying the test. So it has those check boxes, has radio buttons to go forward. Here is the critical thing that you need to know about the test, okay, is that when you're in path 1, remember we're still talking about path 1. Path 1 is you go through the training material and you take all of the knowledge checks. You don't have to pass them, but you take all of the knowledge checks. You go through the material, you take all of the knowledge checks, and then you take the exam. Okay, so now we're the exam for that section. At the end of, so this one has 5 questions, as I mentioned. At the end of question 5, you click submit, and you just submitted your entire test. All right. Is there a way for me to show, how can I show this? I don't have I don't think I have a blur on this software. Although this test does not give me all of the things in the beginning about like don't share the test, I don't have any of there's none of that like ethical stuff in path 1, but still I don't feel comfortable actually showing you the test. So at the end of, so this one I said has 5 questions. At the end of 5 questions, at the end of the 5th question, you are submitting the entire test. There is no way to go back and review your answers. And you don't know, like you might not remember that there were only 5 and that it was like, it doesn't tell you question 1 of 5. It just tells you, okay, question 1, question 2, question like whatever. So then you get to the end and you're like, whoa, what? I just submitted the test. So that is a huge difference. The really fantastically good news is it will tell you your score immediately. This has been one of the things that we've all hated forever, right? When we took the test before, we would submit a section and we didn't get our scores until the very end, okay? Until we took the entire test, we submitted all of them, and they were like, are you ready for your grade? And we were like, yes, give me your grade, give me my grade. And then that's when they would, you would know way back in section 1, like what your score was. Okay. So this is really, really great that they're telling you your score, right away. Now notice that while I am, let's see, can I, oh, man, I don't know how to, can I do this? Oh, I know how to do it. Okay. I figured it out. Okay, let me just share this other stuff. No comments. Oh, let me refresh the YouTube thing. Okay, no questions on YouTube yet. Okay, I got to close all this other stuff in order for me to show you. Okay, I just moved it off the screen. Okay, so let me share my screen again. I moved it off the screen so you couldn't see it. So here's the test. Here's the test question, getting started. Okay, do you remember this course content thing up at the top? Okay, when I click this, I can, this is how I get back to the training, but I cannot do that. I cannot get back to the training while I'm in the test, even if I have, oh, let's see, what just happened? Okay, so I clicked that to go back to that. It says the course is already in progress. Do you want to continue where you left off? And I say yes, and it's going to jump back. Oh. Okay, let me see what happens when I click next. I'm going to do this off screen, so. Okay, if I click the next lesson button. Okay, hold on, look. Okay, so I clicked the next lesson button and it did not open up the exam again. Now it thinks that I did not. So I guess that's the way to leave the exam. So previously you would leave the exam, and that's how, if you like got started and you were like, whoa, I don't know any of this, I don't want to take this, I don't want it to be part of one of my things, you can just leave, you can just go back to the training. But what happens when I click, hold on, I'm going to click start the exam. Let's see if it knows where I am. All right, I'm at question 1. I'm going to go to I'm going to go through it for a second. Module, so question. Okay, so now I've answered 3 questions, 3 out of the 5 questions. Now I'm going to go back to this course already. Do you want to continue where you left off? Yes. Okay, take the exam. It thinks that I have not taken it, and it starts over at question 1. Okay, so you can leave the exam. You cannot have the exam and the training open at the same time. Oh, wait, let me try one more thing. See, this is what we do internally when you guys are not around, all these clicking and testing and like see how it works. Let me try one other thing. So if let's say I click that, and then I go back to the training, and I click yes, and I click this. No. Okay. So I'll show you what I was testing. Okay. So if I'm in the middle of the exam, then going back using this is the same as this navigation, and it will take me to start the exam over. It won't take me to the middle of the exam. Jonathan says, what about a private window? I don't know. I haven't tested it yet. Okay. All right. So that is now, one thing that I did test was, so I failed the first section, and it does say, actually, let me do it right now. Hold on, because there's only 5 questions. I can fail this very quickly. I'm not screen sharing, okay. Go to question 5, and boom, oops, I did not pass any. Okay, so I took 5. Okay, so I did my 5. I didn't get any right. I've scored 0. I've now taken the exam 1 time. We strongly recommend that you review the course material before attempting again. Okay, so now I want to go back and do the training again. Notice that it doesn't tell me, this is another thing, is that it does not tell me what topics I missed, okay? The last one, at least it told me like what topics I should go and restudy, right? This time it doesn't tell me, it tells me nothing. It just tells me that I failed, okay? So what happens if I go back to the training. Course is already in progress. Do you want to continue where you left off? Yes. Okay, good. When I tested this yesterday, I was stuck in exam mode. I couldn't go back to the training at all, and but now it looks like I can go back to the training. But how do I know what training to go back to? Like, I don't know what I don't know what I failed. I don't know what I did wrong. So I can just hop between the exam, start it over, or I can go back to the training. Okay, so I can't, if I'm in the middle of taking an exam, I just tested just now that I took 3 questions out of the 5, so I was in the middle of taking it, and I left to the training, and it didn't tell me that my exam was going to be lost, but my exam was lost. And so I went back to the training, then tried to take the exam again, and I couldn't because what was I trying to say? So yesterday I couldn't because I was stuck in the exam mode. So they must have fixed that, because that was one thing I was going to call Intuit about tomorrow. Okay. All right. So that's good. All right. So that is path 1. That is all path 1, one section at a time. You have to go through the training. You have to do the knowledge checks. You submit immediately after the last question. There's no opportunity to recheck your answers unless you know. If you know that you're on the last question, you can go back to previous questions, I think. Let me just make sure that there is a back button or something. No, actually there isn't. There is no way to review what you've already answered. There's no way to go back to at a previous question. Just asks you one question at a time. And that takes us out of the exam. Yeah. Okay. So there is no way to check your answers. All right. So that is path 1. Now, there is also path 2. So let's talk about path 2. In order to get to path 2, so I'm going to share my screen again. I assume that if you had any questions about path 1, you would have asked them. Let me check the YouTube questions real quick. How do I get to my YouTube? Oh, there we go. So Jonathan asked, what about a private window? I don't know. I don't think that I have any YouTube questions. Okay. All right. Now. All right. So we're going to go talk about path 2. So here I am in, so Amy Lynn says, do they still mix the questions up each time? Let's see. All right. Amy Lynn says, do they still mix the questions up each time? As I said, we have not completed our deep dive of the test itself. So far, it appears that, yes, it's a question bank like it was before. So it's like a random selection of questions. But within that Tashisa says, do you stay in that section before moving on if you do not pass? Oh, maybe that's what I was trying to do before that it wouldn't let me. I don't think that that is the case. Well, we'll see, because we're going to go back to our hub. So we'll see in just a second. Okay. So the course is already in progress. Do you want to continue where you left off? I will say no. I'm going to close that. Okay. Now, there is no way, like this just goes between this goes between the training and the test. Okay. That's what these two are. And that this is training and test. Okay. Let me make this smaller, see if I get that back button back. Yeah. So that's the only way for me to see the back button is if I am out of full screen mode. Okay. So I have to be out of full screen mode to go back. And that's going to take me to my certifications. We've seen this before. This is the progress that I was in, my certifications tab. If I go back to my hub, you can see these are the certifications that I'm enrolled in. These are the individual modules that are part of that. They are not in order. This one is not in alphabetical order. I don't know what order it's in because it's also not in the order of the training. So for a long time I was confused by these course enrollment things. I would say don't worry about these and focus on the top half. Okay, so if you go to continue here, that takes you to the certifications tab, and these are in order, okay, although you can take them in any order. So Tashisa's question was, can we start another section without passing that exam? And the answer is, drum roll please, yes. Okay, so yes, I can, even if I have not passed that section test. See, this button does not work. Go to back. So even though I have not passed that section test, I can still go back and take a different one. So Linda was asking about the CPE. So let's see. Linda is asking for the CPE or the certification. So so that's a really good question. The CPE is awarded after you take the exam, I believe, or maybe with the knowledge checks. Have I earned any CPE? My history. Let's see. I have not. I think that I have to pass that section exam in order to get my CPE. But I'm interested to know because I said that the knowledge checks, you can take the exam, you can unlock the exam without passing the knowledge checks. But I'm wondering if the knowledge checks are related to CPE. I don't know the answer to that. All right. Let's go back to, she says her name is just pronounced Tasha. That's what I said at first, and then I corrected myself because I thought I was wrong. So sorry about that. Okay, so back to our screen. Okay, so remember where we are now. We're in the certifications tab. So my hub. Julie says, I took the first test in the level 2 and I was able to get the CPE cert. So yeah, so I guess they're tied to the section test. Okay, so here we are again, my hub, certifications at the top. If I click this, it's the same as clicking here. Okay, notice now it says certifications. We're talking about this particular one. This is the one that we went through. This is the one we barely started. The other thing I wanted to point out, so path 2 is to just test out, okay? Testing out means that you want to test yourself and you want to just take the entire test, all 5 sections, all in one sitting. You just want to knock it out and see how you do, okay? So if you select test out, okay, all of that stuff disappears and you now have the option to take the exam. So I'm going to click take exam and you can see how this is different. Yes, patina, I was going to cover that. I will actually, this is a good time to put it, that if you need the CPE credits, you must go in through path 1. The path 2 does not award CPE credits, okay? You get your certification. If you pass, you get your certification. You do not get CPE credits in path 2, okay? So the testing out. Thanks for bringing that up. Okay, so if you click the little test out button, then you have a take exam button. I just noticed that this is all pretty small for you guys. Maybe I can make it bigger, okay? So now, this is how you test out, okay? So I'm gonna accept, blah, 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 okay? And we have some information about the testing out process, okay? First, oh wow, look at how big my cursor is. That's funny. It's enormous. Why is it so enormous? Here, let me turn it off and then turn it back on and see what happens. It's still the same. It's just I didn't realize that my cursor exploded when I zoomed in. Like, why even have that cursor? Okay, let me just turn that off. Okay, that's crazy. It did not say the old CPE credits before this new change. Oh, that's a good question. I don't think it did. That's definitely a reason to call that customer care number and get, if you need your old certificates, you didn't download them but you need to submit them to your society, then absolutely contact them to see how you can get a hold of them, because yeah, your old ones are not in there anymore. Okay, so the exam should be done within 1 sitting. Now, this is huge because that means all 5 sections. All 5 sections. This is not one section at a time. It's sort of one section at a time, but you have to do all 5 sections in 1 sitting. And if you test out, there is a time limit. Okay, on average, it takes around 2 hours to complete the exam, and you'll have up to 5 hours to finish. So there is a little timer up in the corner that starts at 5 and it counts down to show you like how much time you have left. Okay, so just like before, you need 80%. You have 3 attempts, just like before, but look at this. The cool down period is only 30 days. Okay, the documentation for path 1 does not say, it does say you have 3 tries, but it does not mention the cool off period, but I assume that it's the same. I assume that it is the same 30-day cool off period, but that's also huge because it used to be 60 days or 90 days or like whatever it was. So that's nice that they gave you less of a time. Okay. When you start the exam, you'll be shown a question, make your choice. Like this is not, this just tells you how to navigate their little testing window. This is not the same for those of you who went through the bookkeeping certification that uses Glide, that is closed book and has a little camera on you to make sure that you are not moving too much or scratching your nose or like whatever. This is not that, okay? But you can go through, you can, for each section, you can review your answers. You can skip a question and flag it. If any of you have been in college recently, like this is a pretty typical way to go through to go through like college level exams now, where you can flag a question to basically say, remind me to come back to this one later. And so kind of the idea that most people have is to get through all of the questions, get through all of them as quickly as possible, and then go back to the ones that you flagged to, like, those are the ones you need to spend more time on. You can only do that within a section. So one section at a time. You're still doing it one section at a time. Once you finish one section, that section is locked, okay? You cannot go back and make changes to that section, okay? All right, so anyway, that's it. You want to make sure that you have the technical stuff correct. They recommend Chrome or Firefox. If you run out of time, all the attempted questions will be auto-submitted, okay? Your attempted responses will be auto-saved if the test is disconnected for any reason. You can resume the test from the last question. This is another important thing, okay? Once you start the exam, you cannot, once you start the exam, you can't leave the exam and start it from fresh. You can't do that like you could before. Okay. So, and if you time out, if something happens, the dog throws up while you're taking the test, you got to go take care of it. You run out of time, boom, it's already submitted. It's auto submitted for you without clicking the button. Okay. Huge difference. And then here is the thing. Can I make this even bigger? Bigger. Well, maybe not that big. Okay, look at this. There's a little checkbox that you have to select that says, I agree not to copy or consult code. This is a term that I'm not sure what they mean. From any external source, including website, book, or individual to complete the test. I will refer to only documentation or tools linked in this test flow. Now, I don't know what they mean by code, okay? That's a strange choice of words. I agree not to copy or consult code from any external source. I think what they're saying here is this is not an open book test, that this is a closed book test, and that it's on the honor system. So it's on the honor system that you will not look at a website, a book, or ask a person to help you complete the test. I'm going to check with Intuit to confirm that that is the case. Because you know what this means? For path 2, no quick notes. So, which I have mixed feelings about. I mean, I could not provide quick notes, or like you could just create your own quick notes, right? Like you could just like create your own notes. And I mean, it says including website, book, or individual to complete the test, but like if you're going through the training and you're like me and you like take notes while you're taking training and then you go take the test, can you review your own notes? I don't know. It's unclear. And I'm not sure. Okay. So then I think I can share this next screen, but let me just turn it off just in case. Okay. Okay, so then the next screen looks like this. Okay, so this is the assessment summary. It says there are 5 questions. Now, if you hover over this, oh, look. Interesting. So if you hover over this, it tells you that there are this many questions. There are not actually that many questions. Getting started just has 5 questions. So that is inaccurate. I'm in Chrome. I previously took this and it did show me how many questions. There are 5 questions in getting started. There's 15-ish questions in sales and customers, 15-ish in getting started is just the one that only has the 5. The others are as long as we expected them from before. So, interesting. All right. Not ready. Save and get back to it later. And then I'm going to, let's see. I'm going to click this. I just clicked, I'm ready to complete the test now in a single sitting. And then I'm going to start my assessment. Okay, yeah, this is not the actual test. This is more instructions. This is the part I wanted to show you. Okay, so notice the timer up at the top, okay? This is the timer that you'll see the entire time that you're taking the test. This is path 2, guys. This, remember, we've got path 1 as an option, we've got path 2 as an option, okay? So path 2, okay, has this little timer up there. They gave me an extra 5 minutes so that I could read these extra instructions, okay? So now is when it tells me that there are only 5, this is how I know there are only 5 questions on this section test, okay? So it's telling me there's going to be 5 questions, multiple selection, multiple choice. So multiple selection is like the check boxes, and then multiple choice is the radio boxes. All right, it's a radio, okay? Then it's the same instructions that you just saw before. Same instructions, okay? And then you get ready, you take the test. Now with this test, you do review all of your answers prior to submitting it. So when you're on the last question, you have an opportunity to review before you actually submit the test. Okay? Alrighty. And if I exit this, okay, let's see, should I exit it right now? If I exit this, my timer will still go down. So even if I close out of it, I would say, oh, nope, I don't want to take this test right now. Yeah. And I leave. When I come back in, the timer will not reset. It will stay like it knows what time it is. I'm pretty sure. Let me just test this real quick. So I'm going to close this, say, whoa, no, I don't want to take that test right now. I'm going to start all over. I'm going to go to Start Learning. I'm going to go back to my certification. I'm going to go to Test Out. It says it's not started because I didn't technically start the test. So maybe the timer will not start up again. There's that. I agree. Okay. Here's that. I'm starting my assessment. Look. It kept track. It's down to 5:02 now. It doesn't start over. It remembers that I am doing this. Okay? So, okay. That's it, guys. That is the new platform. That is the new ProAdvisor Academy. When you get your badge now, you are now getting a Credly badge. A Credly badge means that it is digitally confirmed. So previously, when you got a badge, it was just an image file, and anybody could grab the image file online and claim that they were a ProAdvisor. So Credly said, oh, this is not good. And so they developed a way to confirm via a link that's attached to your badge, so that they can confirm that it actually is yours and it will expire, and somebody can click on it and confirm that it is actually that it's real, that it's not just a an image. Okay. I'm gonna show you something real quick. I've never logged into Credly on this. Oh, I guess I have. Okay. So I'm gonna show you. Hold on a sec. Okay. Save. Okay. Oh my gosh, so many pop-ups. All right, for some reason, okay, so here's my account. So you do have to, in order to accept your badge, you do have to create an account on, Credly. And I don't know why it's telling me that now I only have, oh, that's my most recent badge. Here are my total badges. Wait, how do I get to my other badges? I should have 4 badges. That's my dashboard. Here we go. All right, so here is my level 1, okay, from last year, because it's good until, it'll be good until June. So those of you who have this, if you already have passed the certification, you don't have to take another certification in the new program. Yours is good just until recertification. Everything we've been talking about is for the new people who have never gotten a certification at whatever level before, okay? So notice that, notice the description that Intuit has provided for this badge, okay? So I would give this link, I would share, I would share this link, okay, and by the way, we're going to be updating Booksmatch so that it uses the Credly badge instead of your certification, okay? So you would share this, somebody would get the link, and they would go on this, and it would say, yes, Margie, or, insert your name, got this badge, and then it describes what they had to do to get this badge, okay? And let's read it. This badge is awarded to individuals who have passed the QuickBooks Online Certification Level 1 exam. Completing the Level 1 certification program and earning a badge demonstrates your proficiency in the QuickBooks platform. As a certified ProAdvisor, you are eligible to earn additional points that will help you advance up the program tiers. Okay, all that stuff we know. Look down here. Earning criteria. ProAdvisor Academy isn't a degree or an accredited program. It doesn't satisfy continuing education, although it does provide the CPE credits, federal or state regulations, registration or licensing requirements. Although it does, those of you who are CPAs who need your technical training, CPEs, this does qualify, even though it says here it doesn't. Completion of the exam means that the individual passed an online open book exam by Intuit. Okay, so the Credly login email must, but it says that the individual passed an online open book exam by Intuit. So remember in Path 2, when it appeared at the bottom that you couldn't use any external sources. And yet the badge says it's an open book exam. So there's like a conflict there. So I'm going to call Intuit tomorrow, get some clarity on, is this open book or is this not open book? Because if it's not open book, I'm not going to teach you how to cheat. Like, that's not what I'm about. Like, I'm about teaching you the information in a way that actually sinks in your brain and that you can actually use, and teaching the information, helping you pass the test by being organized and knowing how to study, not by giving you the answers. So I'm not going to go against if Intuit says this is a closed exam, I'm not going to give you the tools to, like to pass it. But this does say it's an online open book exam. Okay? So, I don't know. Okay, so June said the Credly login email must match your ProAdvisor email. That is correct. You have to, accept your badge, and you do that by getting a Credly account, and it's linked to your ProAdvisor email. That does raise an interesting question, though, because one of the things, when you, what if you change your email address on your Intuit account? That comes up a lot because people they don't have they're fresh, they don't have a business yet, so they just use their personal email address, and then later they have a business, so they want to switch it to their business email, and that's kind of a pain. Now it's not going to hook up to Credly anymore. So that's a good question for me to ask. Credly email. My guess is that you would just have to change it in both places. Oh, Stephanie says you can merge emails in Credly. Okay, that's good. So the other thing that, let's see. Okay, sorry, let's see. Stephanie says, for those who have already passed so basically she wants me to repeat about if you passed the exam prior to the change. If you passed the exam prior to the change, then you have your badge, and you have your new badge, you have your certification. You do not have to you do not have to take the whole test all over again. You will get recertification. They will release recertification materials. You'll have to enroll in it. You'll have to go through it like we just did. Whether they'll have the two paths, I don't know. We'll have to wait until the spring and see. But you do not have to go through the whole ProAdvisor Academy for your current badge. Your current badge is good until the spring. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that. Let's see. All right, so I think I covered everything. So the big question on everybody's mind is, and Bahar just said it. The big question on everybody's mind is, what is going to happen to Fast and Easy courses? Are we still going to help you pass the test? Bahar said, will you rearrange, update your courses to be able to pass the exams in the new system? And also, there is one more new for bookkeeping. Will you add that course to your list as a new one? So answering the second question first, the bookkeeping certification is not new. They have had it for 2 or 3 years at this point, but this is the first time it's been in your ProAdvisor account. Previously, it was just under the Intuit Academy, and so you accessed it separately. And I assume, I haven't looked at my ProAdvisor profile. Let me look real quick to see my ProAdvisor profile, if the new badges are there. One second. Okay. So my ProAdvisor profile, here's me right here. It says QuickBooks Online Level 2, and it says QuickBooks Payroll. It does not, even though I have the bookkeeping badge, it does not have the badge listed here on the ProAdvisor, on my ProAdvisor profile. And notice too, it still says Advanced ProAdvisor. So that's interesting. Let's see my competition here. So this guy just says QuickBooks Online Level 1, and it does not say anything under his name. Let's find somebody. Desktop doesn't have anything under his name. So, yeah. Interesting. Okay. So, Stephanie, they are what? The badges are up. The badges are updated on the ProAdvisor profile. I was looking to see if the bookkeeping badge that I've earned is on the ProAdvisor profile, and it is not. So, all right. So Bahar's first question: will you rearrange, update your courses to be able to pass the exams in the new system? The answer is yes. There will be some kind of companion course that we will create for the new system. What that's going to look like, I don't know, and it somewhat depends on Intuit's answer to whether it's an open book or a closed book test. If it's an open book test, like it always is, then we can create our courses just like we always do. If it's a closed book test, meaning they don't want you to have any reference materials, then it makes it more challenging for us. But it just means that we have to be better because we have to make sure that you actually really know it inside and out. And I will not go against Intuit's rules. Others may. Others may, because it's on the honor system. So you just check that box and you say, oh yeah, I'm not using any reference material. But if you actually are, well, that's you. I'm not gonna support that. But I don't know if other leaders in the space feel as strongly as I do about that. So yes, there will be some sort of companion material for passing the certification tests. We don't know yet what it's going to look like. My team is digging in to what is we need to determine what's on the test, we haven't done that. We just barely started the process. We have gone through the training material. We haven't really taken a deep dive into the tests themselves yet. So what it will look like will depend after we have finished doing that. I anticipate that we'll know by the end of the month what our new program will look like. Okay, and but the answer is yes, there will be something. What it will look like is still to be determined. How much it will cost will still be determined. All of that good stuff. Then as far as the bookkeeping certification, we have had ever since Intuit released that certification, we have had people ask us to create a fast and easy version of it. There are a lot of obstacles to that. One is that it is a proctored test. So we cannot provide materials in the same way for that bookkeeper exam as we can for the ProAdvisor exam. So we are developing, I guess this can be like my first kind of whispering of what's happening. We are developing a course that will assist you in passing the bookkeeper certification. It is not specific. It is in this, our current courses are specific courses designed, the only reason that you would buy the course is to pass the exam. Okay. The new course is not that. You won't buy the course just to pass the exam. However, if you buy the course, you will be able to pass the exam. I hope that I understand what that means. And I hope you understand what I'm saying. When I was a kid, I was like, what's liqueur? And my mom was like, Well, all liqueur is liquor, but not all liquor is liqueur. So it's that kind of thing. All oranges are fruits, but not all fruits are oranges. Like it's that kind of a thing. So Bahar is asking, will you ask for any payment for the ones who already paid for the courses but did not pass the test? No. If you have currently our courses, you're not going to have to buy them again. No. When you buy our courses, you have them for life and you have all of our updates. So whatever it looks like, those of you who have the courses will automatically get a version of it. You'll get a version. So no, you will not have to buy it again. Okay. And let me just pull up my YouTube people again one more time. See if we have any comments there, questions, while I'm waiting to see. No questions, comments in YouTube. All right. Any other questions from anybody? I think I covered everything I intended to cover today. So that's where we are. I am headed to Spain. I'm headed to Spain on Tuesday for a planned vacation, and for a planned vacation that I don't work for Intuit, so I don't know when these things are going to happen. I'm just like as surprised as always. So the timing is not great, but I'm really fortunate that I have a wonderful team who will continue to work on this while I'm gone. And so I expect that it will be amazing. Like when we'll have a bunch of clarity at the end. Amy Lynn says clear as mud. I am, by the way, so every year I do a video called Everything You Ever Wanted to Know about the QuickBooks Online ProAdvisor certification. And there is an accompanying guide to the video. It's a document, ebook that is Everything You Ever Wanted to Know about QuickBooks Online ProAdvisor certification. And so one of the first things that I will do when I get back is I will schedule the this year's version of that. It's a very long call because I go over all of the details, and then you get a book. It's all free. You get a little booklet at the end so you can refer to it if necessary. And so once we have clarity, that will be the first thing that I do is re-record, redo all of that. So hopefully it's not as mud anymore, but it is absolutely clear. Okay, let's see. Stephanie says, I looked at Find a Pro listing and it appears unless you are advanced certified, it does not list that you are a ProAdvisor. Well, no, it does not say the words ProAdvisor anymore. And a lot of people are complaining about that. Again, as I mentioned in the beginning, if that bothers you, tell Intuit, because 1,000 voices saying it is better than a handful of people saying it, okay? So, and I'm hearing a lot of people complain that it no longer says ProAdvisor on the badge. So like that's a big thing. And the website is called, Find a ProAdvisor. Let's see. So if I go back to, here's that page again. Can you see? Oh, I don't know why there. So the page says Find a ProAdvisor. Okay, so everyone here is a ProAdvisor. But only the advanced ProAdvisors say it under their name. Everyone else is just blank. So here, like this first guy, John, it's just blank. So it doesn't actually say ProAdvisor, but he wouldn't be listed here if he wasn't. Okay. Let's see. Okay, let's see. So that was Stephanie. Yep. Let's see. Bahar says, even if the exam is closed book, we will want to take your course to prepare for it. Aw, thank you. Cheryl says, is there a way to get a refund if we cannot continue with the new style? I'm not sure why you say that, because you will be able to continue with the new style. I mean, I just said that we will be creating companion guides, and everyone who has purchased previously will get the new companion guide. So we are still going to assist you. So I don't know why. I don't know what situation that would be. All right. How do I subscribe to your fastandeasyqbo.com? Gigi, I think that you are already subscribed because I recognize your name. And so I don't know what you mean by subscribed. If you, I might not be able to log in from this computer. Yeah, I cannot log in. Actually, let me do it this way. If you're getting our newsletter, then you are subscribed. Gigi Hernan. Oh. It looks like that you are not, looks like you don't have any of our courses. I was sure you did because I've seen your name before. But anyway, write to support@fastandeasyqbo.com. And Anthony will talk you through like what your different options are, and get you signed up for whatever it is that would best fit wherever you are in your journey. Okay? All right, let's see. Somebody says, thank you, Randy Young, but I don't know who Randy Young is. I don't see another post there. So anyway, I think we are good to go, guys. Look, it's been 2 hours that you've been hanging out with me, and that's awesome. I still have a full day. I still have a full day. Okay, let's see. Will you let us know by newsletter after you communicate with Intuit related to the exam rules, and when do you think this matter will be clear? So I'm going to call Intuit tomorrow about the open book, closed book situation, and so we'll know, and I can put in this week's newsletter. Even though I'm going to be in Spain, the team will still send out a newsletter. Whether it will say it's from me or from somebody else, I don't know. But so we'll have in there. And then the second part of your question, and when do you think this matter will be clear? I said previously that by the end of this month, we should have a clear idea of what our new companion guides will look like. Then it will probably take, somewhere 2 to 4 weeks. So by the end of November, probably we'll have at least the level 1 companion course ready for you, and then advanced at the end of December. So let's see. All right, you're welcome, Cheryl. And all right, any other questions? I want to stay on until all questions are answered. But I do, there is always a delay. Those of you guys who have come to my live streams know, you hear me say that all the time, that there is a delay. So I have to keep talking and wait to see if anything pops up. Let's see. Crystal says, thank you for taking all this time on Sunday to answer our many questions. Aw, you're welcome. You actually didn't have that many questions this time. I guess it's because I always want to give so much information that there aren't any questions. I want it to be so good that you're like, wow, all my questions were answered. That was amazing. That's my guide. So, oh, Bahar says, you are our angel teacher and guide. You're being so loved. Aw, aw, you're making me blush. Oh my gosh. Jennifer says, thanks for the update. Much appreciated. And by the way, I passed all 3 certs in early October. Thanks for you. Wow. That's pretty amazing. That's awesome. Right before the deadline. So you don't have to go through this new style. So that's why we were encouraging people to, get it done. So that, so that you wouldn't have to go through like this new thing and wait and figure out like, oh, what path are we going to do and how are we going to handle it and all that stuff. Oh, one thing that I forgot to mention is in the previous year's training, the knowledge checks that you had to go through that were so annoying because you had to pass them in order to unlock the rest of the training. Those knowledge checks were totally unrelated to the test. They were not at all. They weren't the same test questions. They weren't it wasn't the same information that you needed to know. This time, however, it seems that some of the knowledge checks, so you saw that there were only 2 knowledge checks, maybe 3 knowledge checks at the end of a section. And it seems that those knowledge check questions sometimes come up as a test question word for word. Sometimes, not always. And there's way more test questions than there are knowledge checks. So you have to be prepared for that. But that's a good sign. That means that they're actually trying to highlight the things that they actually want you to know. So that's good. We love when Intuit looks out for us like that. So, all right. I think that's it. I think I've been talking long enough. I don't see any more coming up from the chat. So I think we're good to go. You guys have a wonderful Sunday. I will see you not this Friday, but a week from Friday. And we'll do our regular live stream exercise of the week. And we will have way more clarity on that live stream, whatever that day is, maybe November 2nd-ish. I can't remember. The 29th, I come back on the 29th, which is Tuesday. So I don't know. Anyway, when I see you next, we will have way more clarity, but at least now we have more clarity than we did before. Okay? Thank you for all the well-wishing, and I will see you when you get back. Oh, wait. One last question. Do you think the Intuit's own training will be enough to pass the tests? I do not know. We have, as I mentioned, we have not gone through we haven't done a deep dive in the tests themselves yet. We've only focused on the training and the structure. So I don't know the answer to that. I can tell you just from the getting started. Do you remember how the getting started had 5 questions and there was so much content? There was just so much content that the answers might be in there, but how are you going to find them? How are you going to remember them? I don't know. I think that's the unknown. So yeah, so we'll see. All right. Okay. I think that's really it. You guys have a great rest of your weekend. And I will see you when I get back. I can't wait to hear your success story.